Hello again, my name is Dr. Bill Johnson. I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Exploring Our Schools. Today we're going to visit with friends from the Watson School. And what we're going to do is to focus a little bit on the exploration of reading through our iPads and a particular program that one of our teachers has been exploring this year called LightSail. And so without further ado, let me introduce some of our guests today. Melissa Rice, who is a fifth grade teacher at Watson School. Thank you very much for joining us.
Of course, very happy to be here.
So, you know what? Why don't we just start with you, and then we can introduce them in just a minute.
Okay.
Okay? So, tell me a little bit about LightSail.
So, LightSail, all the fifth graders in the district have iPads in their classrooms, and LightSail is an app on that iPad. It's kind of like the Kindle, but for educational purposes. And each child has their own library that's built specifically for them. And they get to read a book while still communicating with their teacher. They have little comprehension checks. And it's just a way to bring reading and technology together.
How do you read and communicate with you not at the same time, but...
Almost at the same time.
So it's all real time. So
it's
when you
all
have
real time.
a class of 25,
right?
What happens?
So if my whole class is reading independently for whatever, the 20 minutes, I have my iPad, and let's say Jamie is reading his book, and he comes to a part that he thinks is amazing or is confused. He can actually touch it, and a think feed will come up, and he could jot me a note or write me down something, so that he doesn't have to wait for me to be free for him or wait for me to be done with a different conference, and it will immediately pop up on my think feed, so I know exactly what's going on. I'm also able to see how many pages they read. I'm able to see if they got stuck on some questions and maybe they're having a little bit of trouble with the book. And I'm able to see their progress all at once. And I have 50 students because we're departmentalized, and it's a blessing because I'm able to see where everybody is at any given time. And with direct instruction, I'm usually in book clubs, which is different. So this has been a great way for me to get a great gauge of their independent reading.
Okay, that's great. So now we'll get down to the real people in this world, the fifth graders at Watson School. Jamie Murphy, thank you very much for coming today. And Molly Steins, thank you very much. I don't know who jumped in first, but this is something you do every day. What does it feel like to be reading? When I went to school, the only thing we had were books.
Right.
You still have books too.
Yeah.
But it's a whole new world. They're in there. Right? So tell me, what's it like?
It's pretty much like carrying around a library in your hand. Yeah. So if you want, let's say you're reading a book and you want to take a break or you don't like it that much, you could just stop reading it and go look for another book. And it doesn't matter.
Now, what Ms. Rice was just saying was that you have a library, but it's your library. So you're not just in the public library, you're in your own.
Yeah.
So you've made a decision about what books you'd like?
Yeah.
And so when you kind of wander through your library, it's the books that you've selected?
No.
No?
Well, so it takes so you start off and you read a book, and then it takes how quickly you read that book and what you do, and then gives you books.
Yeah. Are these illustrated? Are they just print?
It's a little bit of both. So your reading library is based on what we call a LightSail range, so that everybody can have a just right book. And what the app does...
Just understand, we're not talking to other teachers, so LightSail, what is a LightSail?
A LightSail is kind of like a reading level. So, and books run the gamut. Yeah. So, and readers run the gamut too. And you want to have a book, especially when you're reading independently, that you feel really comfortable with and can read by yourself. So the great thing about that app is it'll track Jamie's reading and find books, A, that it thinks he will like, and B, that he'll be able to read independently.
So he knows his LightSail?
It actually tells him when he logs on to his app.
All right. You too, Molly?
Yeah, it gives you the books that's on your reading level so that you don't have too much trouble or you don't think that it's too easy for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what are you reading right now?
Right now I'm reading Home Team. It's a basketball book, and I'm really liking it, yeah.
So you like basketball, huh?
Yeah.
Do you play basketball?
Yeah, I do.
Really? So can you relate to the characters in the book?
Not so much. It's kind of They like write a letter to a professional basketball player for them to come to their school, so I can't relate to that.
Okay.
But
You could try that.
I could, yeah.
And did they come to the school?
I haven't gotten up to that.
Oh, you
part
didn't
yet.
get there? Okay. So you're on your way?
Yeah.
All right. So do you have a library too?
Yeah, I do.
All right. And again, getting back to that library, how exactly is it put together?
Well, if you want to pull up on Jamie's iPad, you could see his library. It's broken up by genre. Which means that they'll have some classics, some realistic fiction, there's biographies, and they could just actually just look at all of their books. So the fifth grade teachers all got together, and the district purchases these books in perpetuity, so they would have them forever. So we put together a beginning list, and I think we're going to be adding more books on as the app grows. And then there are some books that come for free with the app, which have been amazing. And little do they know, we're about to do a round of book clubs using LightSail to do classics, because The Wizard of Oz is on there, Peter Pan, and books that we wouldn't normally choose out of a library. So Jamie's library is set up so that he can go through all the different types of books, and like he said, he could choose one and start it and not love it, and very easily
Move to something else.
Yeah.
So Molly, if you bump into a word that you're not familiar with, what happens? What do you do?
Well, I would just like read the next sentence, but some of the words, they have like a green box on them, like covering it, and like you have to read like closely, and use like the context clues, and like try to figure out what the word is, and it gives you like, it's like multiple choice almost. It has like 4 different choices that the word could be.
So do you tap the word?
Yeah.
Really? And then it gives you some ideas about what that word might mean?
Yeah.
In that context?
Yeah.
But you have to figure it out?
Yeah.
Oh, really? You do the same thing?
Yeah.
Really?
And what have you found that helps you do?
Helps you read closer.
Yeah, and a lot of kids say it helps them read a little bit slower, and
Yeah.
it slows them down.
Because, like, say that there is that green box over a word, like, you can't move to the next page if you, like, really don't know it, like, or, like, if you think you just want to, like, skip some pages, it doesn't let you do that until you finish reading it.
How does it know?
How does
it know if you've read the page or not?
Oh, with the green box around the word, because if you haven't answered it, then you can't move on.
Oh, my goodness, isn't that interesting?
Right.
Okay. So there's an instructional program, so you're introducing new vocabulary to them.
You're introducing new vocabulary to them. There's also, if you got to a word you didn't know that didn't have a green box, what could you do?
You could like hold it, and it would probably pop up with like a dictionary thing that would tell you what it means.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so apart from vocabulary, what else does it do?
I don't know if it's every chapter or every certain pages. Each book is different, but there are comprehension checks where they have to answer an extended response. Why don't you talk about that?
So like if you're like speed through a book, and then you see a comprehension check, like you have to write this whole thing for the question. So if you're speeding through, it'll know because you can't answer it.
Yeah.
Or you answer it with like a sentence. And she could also see them.
Right.
So if we write like, it was this and that, that's not like good
Now, when you say you're writing on what?
on the iPad.
With a stylus or with do you type?
Yeah, on the keyboard.
Yeah.
What, on the
On the
keyboard?
keyboard,
Yeah.
Yeah, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I am.
You are? Do you touch type or do you finger? How do you do it? How do you type?
Oh, I finger.
Huh? One finger?
Yeah.
And are you fast?
Yeah.
He's very fast.
It is amazing
It is.
how we always thought that everybody had to learn touch typing.
Right.
And yet even those who learn it very often,
I would say it's a mix. Some kids use all of their fingers. Some kids do not. And some kids have voiced that next year when they're in middle school, they're going to buy one of those keypads that you could stick your iPad on.
Right.
But everybody does really well with it. And that was one of my concerns in the beginning, that the quality of their writing wouldn't be like where I thought it was, where I thought it would be, because they would have to type it. And it's been the exact opposite. And then what happens when you get the question right? What do you earn? You get a badge, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really?
And you could get like a lot of badges, and that would show like that you're doing good.
Yeah.
Let me just focus on writing for a second.
Okay.
I mean, when you said the writing has not declined, what does that mean? That I'm always fascinated
Right.
by, when you sit there with a pen or a pencil sometimes and you have to think, well, you don't think, you just do it naturally.
Right. Well, I
But when you're
think,
selecting keys, I mean, does it interfere with your thought patterns?
well, interesting. This is my third year in fifth grade. So when I was in third grade, we were just really introducing typing. And really, this has only been, like, in the past few years that technology really has come through to the elementary school. And so for me, I'm a big paper and pencil person. I'm a big book person. So for me, I was a little hesitant. I was like, are they just going to rush? Are they just going to type really fast just to be done? And it's really been the exact opposite. And the bonus is they know that I'm going to see it, I grade it, and I can give them feedback, which they get right away. So it ends up being less of, so I have to write this and then hand it into Mrs. Rice, and then she has to read it and hand it back. It's very immediate, which I think is helpful for them. And what's also nice is I have the ability to show really great responses over the smartboard. So it makes it a great model to show other students how
So it
kids
can
are
be made
approaching
public.
it. It can be made public very easily.
Yeah. So, you guys are writers.
Yeah.
In it. Do you like writing with a keyboard?
Yeah.
Do you find that you can think?
Uh-huh.
And
It
put-
makes you like think about what you're writing.
You don't? You do or you don't?
You do.
You do think about what you're writing. And with the keyboard, you don't have to worry about it so that you can get your thoughts down exactly what you want.
Yeah.
You too?
Yeah.
Do you find that when you like writing more when you're able to use a computer or the iPad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like different.
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
Well, she and I really know it's
Yeah.
different because we grew up at a different time. But when you say it's different, what does that mean?
That like instead of just writing like you're just like trying to, so instead of writing like letters
Right.
every time, you like see the things that you have a choice to do.
Okay.
So you could like pick different things instead of just like thinking it.
So it helps you.
Yeah.
So you feel that you're a better writer because you can use something like this.
Yeah.
You too,
That's
Molly?
the same with me because I feel like these days a lot of kids are using their electronics like a lot. So I feel like I'm really trying to work hard on writing the questions, and like sometimes I get bored of just writing it with a paper and a pencil. But on the iPad, like it's more like, I don't know, new to us. So
It's
okay.
interesting is that when she said she's going to put it up on the smartboard, you actually, when you write an answer, are just not writing to answer the question. Now, they go beyond that with this?
They do. There's a think feed that they can type into and almost talk to the whole class at the same time. And when you're writing something that's going public in that way, it teaches them a great lesson about how technology gets you out there right away. But you see the quality of their sentence structure, the quality of what they're writing, because everybody's going to see it. So I've seen that's been a huge improvement as well, and a huge benefit of the program.
Yeah, I just talked about thoughts a minute ago, but structure is very important as well.
Yes, it is.
So the structure of the language.
Yeah.
Do you find it helps you
Yeah, it definitely does help.
in putting together sentences and figuring out what punctuation is needed where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it help? Does it make it easier?
Yeah. It's just like easier.
And I think that I see Jamie tends to get his thoughts down very quickly. So when you're typing it, it's easier to insert something rather than cross something out or erase. And I see more students revising and more students adding to. And let's say somebody handed me in a question that I didn't think had everything in it, I could send it back and they could quickly revise it and send it right back to me within a period of 4 minutes.
So part of writing is revising, huh?
Yeah.
So you do that a lot? And just even answering a question, right?
Yeah.
We do that a lot.
What does that mean?
We often, it's a huge lesson in fifth grade about looking at what you're doing, revising it, making sure it's the best you could be. We live in a world where everything is so immediate. And when they come in, most of them have Instagram accounts, and most of them have group chats going on. True?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're very into the immediate, and it's important, even in technology, to take a step back and make sure that your thoughts are exactly what you want to say.
And this helps.
And it does help, because it allows me to get back to them in a more expedient manner, and it lets me see exactly how they're using the technology and how they're using it to help their writing.
So this really connects both reading and writing. It gives you a great opportunity.
Absolutely, and speaking.
So you're an author, right? And you feel that way when you're writing?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of? Yeah. So you're a reader and an author. You can appreciate what somebody else has put down on paper, but you're also putting something on, well, I keep saying on paper, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
not.
No, it's on the screen.
It's on the screen. But we are just starting to use it more in groups, because there are texts that everybody has, like I was saying with the classics, and we're going to be working in groups and reading them and talking in a think feed just with a few groups and communicating together.
Right.
So it really does foster the art of conversation, the art of reading, and the art of writing.
Yeah. We're at the end. I would love to continue this conversation, but we're at the end, and I just hope that, are there some final thoughts that you would like to share about using this as both a reading and a writing tool?
Well, yeah. With the think feed, you could like write to your other classmates. So if you can't find a book, you could like write to your classmates, like, is there any good books that you think I would like? Or you could like recommend books.
But you're
to each
writing
other.
to your classmates, which is
Yeah.
great. They're
And Mrs.
communicating.
Rice sees it all, so if
Yeah.
there's something inappropriate, then
Good.
Right.
It makes it much more interactive. So like you could interact with everyone.
yeah.
It's not like you just send it to one person and they have to send it to everyone else and everyone else. It's like you could just do it all at once.
Yeah.
Or you could just do it to one person.
Good. On that note, I'm going to have to end. Thank you both very much. This was terrific. You guys were great.
Thank you so much.
I thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us again, and I hope you just get a taste of what it's like for us to live through the brand-new experience of introducing all of this technology at a time, and making sure, however, that we haven't lost a sense of the value that we have for what we've done with reading and writing. It's a matter of just incorporating it into what is new. So thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Bye now.